Good afternoon, everyone. This is Advanced Techniques, and this is 2022, so it's a brand new recording. We're going to start talking about motivational interviewing first. You've had a lot of information already in semester one about motivational interviewing. So the goal for this semester, after getting a brief overview in the fall, is to really delve into motivational interviewing. One of the course requirement textbooks was the Motivational Interviewing book. That's something that I really recommend getting. You can pass this class without having it, but it'll be a good resource for you for the future. It's good to read through it. But here are our goals for this class. Know the descriptions of motivational interviewing, the spirit of motivational interviewing, the method, and the basic skills. Now, luckily for you, you've had a lot of this already between multiple classes. But how do we define motivational interviewing? It's a collaborative conversational style that strengthens a person's own motivation and commitment to change. It's collaborative. You've often heard us talk about it like a dance versus wrestling. You're following the client. It's very, very person-centered. There is a fantastic website here that you can actually get fully certified here and be a member of the MINT, Motivational Interviewing Network of Trainers, if you do the professional training. There is a nice calendar of training events right here if you want to peruse this website and take a look at it. And you see these different trainings, facilitator-led online introductory, and let's see if this is online. It looks like, let's see how much it is. Let's see how much it cost. Let's see. Oh yeah, they have the virtual course. I wonder how much it is. You're probably making y'all like nauseous, but anyway, let's see, 1 hour cake course. I don't know what that means. Let's see, beginner foundations. Let's see what we have. I was trying to see how much it is. Motivational interviewing is used in all sorts of fields. So I think I was curious to see how much this is going to cost. Let's see. Okay, $297. That's not too bad. But if you're really feeling person-centered and you're really loving motivational interviewing, you can't go wrong with getting more training. That's what all of us do after school anyway. We go and get more training and we get certified and trained in different modalities that we like. So if you're going to work with substance abuse, I highly recommend. That's not a lot to do the training. So there's that site. So why should we use it? Well, motivational interviewing there's that word again that we learned in the last class, evidence-based. We know that it works. And people don't like to be talked at, they like to be talked with. And MI is much like that. Very much takes the pressure off of you as the clinician and you're following the client. And it has been proven to work with a multitude of disorders that are listed there for you. Very humanistic, but you're working toward a specific goal. It provides the tools to conceptualize and address that resistance and ambivalence. Remember, the ambivalence is where the client is going back and forth on the seesaw. You can always remember in the stages of change with Proshka and De Clemente, which is the theory backing this as well as person-centered, that when we're contemplating a change, we're in those different stages of change. And that one pre-contemplation is you're not even thinking about it. It's not on your radar. Something happens to move you toward contemplation, which is where you're sitting there thinking, I might change. Like, for instance, working out. I just started a new workout, which is like a CrossFit type workout. I had been working out doing something else for many years. I had to make a decision. I started contemplating trying the class 6 months ago. January happened. I had more time. I asked about it. I found out I had a free week. So I'm still contemplating. I'm still on the seesaw. I'm still ambivalent. Am I going to try it? Am I going to not? I'm going to make this change in my life and add a new workout type class into my life. Well, I finally asked about it. I got a free week. I made decision. I've had a friend who was going, so I decided to go and tag along with the friend. So I, had someone there to help. I tried it. I loved it. I did my free week, decided to see if I could make it work with my schedule because you have to pay more money. I made the decision, bam, paid for the class for the month. That moved me from contemplation to action. I was on the seesaw for 6 months about doing it. Then I finally made the change. Then I'm in action. Right now I'm in action phase. If I stay in action, I'll move. I moved preparation. I prepared. So I made the decision and prepared. I messed up there, guys. So I was on the seesaw for 6 months. Then I decided to take another step and prepare to make the change, which was me trying it, purchasing it, and then I'm actionably in the change now where I've been doing it for about a month and a half. So I hope that helps you understand. And then I'm in maintenance after I've been doing it for like 6 months. So here's a quote about motivational interviewing that really sums it up. We are usually convinced more easily by reasons we have found ourselves than by those that which have occurred to others. For clients to come up with their own reasons to change is much more powerful. You're going to hear us talk about the spirit of MI. It's a lot more than a set of techniques. It's just a way of being with people. It's an interpersonal style. It facilitates the building of that rapport. There's that word again. Build rapport. It's respectful. It's equal, egalitarian. There are 4 components of motivational interviewing: partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evocation. Let's take each one of those and talk about it. First and foremost, the partnership. We're partners with our client. That facilitates trust. I use this in all of my counseling sessions. We're partners. It avoids you being the expert talking at the client. You don't impose your perspective on the client. It's the opposite of confrontation. It's done with a person as opposed to a person. And there's that metaphor. We are dancing versus wrestling. Acceptance is the next part of the spirit of motivational interviewing. We accept people. We don't judge. We accept them where they are. This is going to serve you so well. Trying to understand where they are coming from. What is their point of view? So fun to do this with substance abuse. We had a client with one of the internship students last year, and we were all able to use this in supervision and to assist her. And she really worked on it and got further with someone as an intern than any clinician had at the practice. It was really cool to watch, mainly because of this one piece. She didn't impose, and she sat with the client and she followed the client. And he couldn't get her rattled. It was awesome. Accurate empathy. Being able, there's Rogers, that's our person-centered, creation and person-centered. This is from his book. To sense the client's inner world of private personal meaning as if it were your own, but without ever losing that as-if quality. Think about one person with whom you've recently worked and this went well. Put yourself in his or her shoes. And how do you think the experience was for them? Accurate empathy involves 2 steps. Accurately sensing the client's world, being able to see things the way he or she does. That's hard and also such a skill for us. Many of us can do it quite easily. And it helps to be able to see the world from their shoes. But then also being able to verbally share your understanding by using ORS. Remember that acronym: open-ended, affirmation, reflection, summarization. So primarily through reflective statements, not parroting. Often followed by yes, that's exactly it, or the client deepening his or her thoughts. You can express what the client may not have said yet, continuing the paragraph that they're talking through, and help clients organize and make sense of their experience. Also making sure that our clients feel autonomous. They have the complete freedom to be who they are and to choose. not making them do something, empowering them. True power for change rests in the client. Only they're responsible. I have clients come in all the time and they start talking about other people and what's happening to them. And I emphasize that together, we can work on goals to help them. We can't change anyone else. I wish I could, but we can work on you, your power, your control of your own emotions, empowering you to live your life differently, and get buy-in from them. The whole time I'm practicing, and I know my modalities are different as an EMDR primary therapist, but the whole time that I am doing EMDR with my clients, I say, how are you? Where are you? Do you want to continue? They are choosing to continue. I'm empowering them. It's your choice. Where do you want to go today? What are you comfortable with today? Is it okay to continue our processing today? It's always giving them the autonomy, the power to choose. I'm along for the ride. It's different than the way I teach. You guys, it would probably be interesting for you to see me counsel versus teach. I'm not the same person. I think I'm genuine in both, but I'm very directive anyway. But I think it's interesting to see me as a therapist versus a professor. I bet. A lot of affirmation. We want to seek and acknowledge the strengths and efforts. Opposite of searching what's wrong with people, looking for what's right with people. Very compassionate. That's another spirit of MI. We're still going over the spirit. You value their well-being. You promote another's welfare. You give priority to another's needs. And then we're evoking. It's very strengths-based. There's even, solution focus is something we'll do at the end, but you see that they're all three are very strength-based. You have what you need, and together we will find the answer, that they are the expert on themselves. You can hear that I have a meeting coming up. My apologies for that. Drawing out their own thoughts, ideas, their values. Why are they motivated to change? We don't impose our opinions or install motivation. We want the clients to discover their own reason for change. Much like the example I gave earlier with the working out. I finally decided that whatever I've been doing is not working. So if I'm going to spend the hour at the gym, I need to spend it maybe doing something more intense than I've been doing. And it was time for a change in my life. I'm getting older, etc. How did I had to figure that out. No one could make me do that. So it's most powerful when the motivation comes from the client. So as a practitioner, which is you are the MI practitioner, you're going to meet your client where they are in their pre-readiness to change. Remember, pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Join them on that ambivalent seesaw. I see that you're really interested in changing your workout, but you're not quite ready to do so because of your time constraints. Tell me more about the push and pull of that seesaw that you're on. You invite and encourage your client to voice the reasons for change. And you help them and accompany them into the next stage. Help them envision what it will look like, very detailed in the future of the change. So now we're into the method of MI. We would do the spirit and the method. These are 4 processes. They're sequential and recursive. Engaging, focusing, evoking, and planning. Those are the 4 methods. So we have the background, which is the philosophy of the spirit. And now we're talking about the actual method of our work with our clients. Always in motivational interviewing, the relationship's the foundation. You want to make sure you engage the client in the conversation about change. We must listen and understand the client can be done very quickly or take much longer. Your response to the client can either harm them or help them engage. The level of engagement impacts their perception of the quality of services, their retention, meaning how long that they were retained in the treatment process, and the outcome of the therapy. Here they are. You should know these by heart by now. These are like Dr. Veal's soapbox, but meet the client in his or her readiness for change. So the stages of change: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. I've gone over this multiple times, so I'm not going to go over it on the slide because I just talked about it when I talked about working out. Read over this, know it, memorize it, make it your best friend. We are then focusing. Okay, so then we're starting to focus on what do they want to change? Where do they want to go? And that will help us create direction for evoking and change planning for that change. What are the client's motivations to change? What are their reasons, their needs, their desires to change? I wanted to, let's say, lose weight. I wanted to get healthier. My cholesterol was high. My stress level, I felt like I needed something more intense to help me balance, and I needed to make time for it. So I had a lot of reasons. What are your client's reasons? Invite the client to voice their own argument for change. Honor the client's experience and your client's wisdom. They've lived their life. And don't try to watch that writing reflex that we all tend to get into. Our reasons for them, right? Versus their reasons for them. It's hard to do that. Seems simple, but it's not. Once the person's ready to begin, then we start to the preparation. Remember, I talked about my preparation was, going and finding out about the class, going and finding, I had a free week, then going with a friend and trying it out, trying to figure out how it worked on my schedule, etc. All right. And then we come up with a plan of action with our client. So how do you do it? All right. So that's kind of behind it. And then here are your skills. Oars, you already know this. It's exciting. Open-ended questions, which are so hard to do. Affirmation, reflection, and summarization. You can provide information as long as you get permission. So it's not that you don't ever give any info or references or resources for the client, but you want to, is it okay with you if I share some resources for 12-step support groups? Are you okay with that? My personal favorite way to be doing this lately, I'd like to invite you to join me to do this. Is that okay? That's when I do meditation. I've been inviting. I just think it's really nice to say that. I adopted that from a training that I went to. I would like to invite you to join me in a meditation. Would that be okay with you? So here's a great detail of open versus closed questions. And I think for many of us, we've been working on this, but this is a great thing to remember. How, what, describe, tell me about. Tell me more about that. Open-ended questions really help. They really bring out in-depth answers from your client. You get to explore their world. We don't want to start questioning them to death. We are going to do this activity in class, in the next class when we meet, which is next week. So this is we're going to go over all of this really quickly, and then we're going to do some skills-based practice. So we're going to do this activity when we come back together next week. So don't worry about that right now. And we're going to also, when we come back together, convert these closed questions to open questions. Okay. So we're going to do those next week when we're together. Affirmations, they're easier. They're not as easy as you think. They need to be sincere expressions, focused on their behavior, genuine, sincere, conveying their strengths and not weaknesses. Examples of that: you've accomplished a lot with little family support. You're someone who doesn't ignore problems. You're dedicated to figuring things out. You're making a genuine effort to do well here. And then we go into reflective listening. This is the R and ORs. It's the most crucial skill, and it really expresses empathy. It helps the client to see us as the helper and hear themselves through you. When we reflect back, it's really powerful. Some of our roadblocks to being effective with this are all of these. issues, ordering, warning, giving advice, persuading with logic, arguing, lecturing, moralizing, preaching. Please, please, please don't ever do that. Judging and criticizing, blaming. I hope you wouldn't do that. Agreeing, approving, and praising. Being careful with that too. We don't always need to be doing that. Of course, shaming, ridiculing, and name calling, I hope we're not doing, but interpreting, analyzing, reasoning, sympathizing, questioning, probing, withdrawing, humoring. Some of these can also be effective for listening. You've got to follow your client and you got to be careful. You've also got to take into account, like for me as an EMDR therapist, I interpret and analyze as a neurofeedback and EMDR therapist. That's a skill that I do and that clients come to me for. So I am effectively listening, but I'm also interpreting data or interpreting a treatment plan to help yield something deeper. So that's the psychoanalytic side. So remember, we have these different modalities. So this one is MI. So you wouldn't interpret or analyze in MI, just to give you some insight there, because we were doing theories and we're doing group and it can get confusing sometimes. So good listening. All right. We must be open, relaxed, breathing, feeling connected, good energy cues, fully present. We must mute ourselves so that we can actually hear what people are saying. It doesn't mean we agree. It just means we're fully present and listening to them in the moment.